The $200 tax on suppressors is going away. That's good news, right? Right? So the House Ways and Means Committee has been looking at the Hearing Protection Act and the Short Act. These are two things that were very important to me, very important to the gun community as a whole. There is absolutely no reason that suppressors and short-barreled rifles should be regulated any differently, any more than any other firearms or firearm accessories. But they have been for almost a century under the National Firearms Act and the Gun Control Act. It's ridiculous. And we have a unique opportunity right now to get these things off of the NFA, or like I like to call it, no fun allowed, NFA, right? So anyway, we have this unique opportunity right now because we have a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate. We have a Republican president, and we have a Republican, conservative majority in the Supreme Court. I've talked about this many times in past videos. So we have this great opportunity right now, and they've got this big, beautiful bill that they're trying to pass. And so there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't have the Hearing Protection Act, which takes suppressors off of the NFA, and the Short Act, which takes SBRs and short-barreled shotguns off of the NFA. Well, all of a sudden, I'm not even hearing about the Short Act anymore. Don't know what happened there. And the Hearing Protection Act has been so watered down to where it seems like the only thing that they're doing now is changing the price of the tax stamps themselves. Specifically $5 for an AOW or any other weapon, which it was already $5 for that tax stamp. $0 for suppressors, transfers. So that'd be Form 4 suppressors, which is, let's be honest, how most of us get suppressors. You can Form 1, being a manufacturer yourself and make a suppressor. That tax stamp isn't changing under the new wording of the Hearing Protection Act. Still $200 if you want to make your own, but $0 if you want to do transfer one, purchase one that is made by a suppressor manufacturer. And then $200 for the transfer of any other firearm, they say, which I assume means NFA items and not just your regular... It's hard for me to find non-NFA items behind me at this point. I like NFA items, not just because they're NFA items. I just like suppressors. I like my guns to not be so loud. And I like short guns. They're compact guns are just easier to use. They're more fun, to be quite honest, and they look cooler. So I have 10 tax stamps myself, $2,000 in tax stamps. 5 of those are suppressors, 5 of those are short-barreled rifles. So technically, this would have saved me $1,000 had this been passed before I started buying suppressors. $1,000 in my pocket, yes, sweet. So honestly, it is a net positive compared to where we have been for a very, very long time. A lot of people, I get comments all the time on videos. Whenever I do videos about suppressors, oh, I'll get one when I don't have to pay a $200 tax. Well, so if this goes through in its current, the way they have it written right now, will those people answer me, leave me a comment. Will you go buy a suppressor now because there's not a $200 tax? Because there is still going to be all of the other regulations is what it looks like. You are still going to have to get fingerprinted. Going to have a mugshot. Going to have to do, the NFA paperwork and, get a tax stamp back. I've got a stacks of these over here. I just did 2 last week. I just got this suppressor and SBR, this MP5K. 2 tax stamps, that's $400 in tax stamps. Of course, I would rather not pay for those tax stamps, but the tax stamp is only part of it. Now, the rest of it sucks. It is not as bad as most people that haven't done it seem to think. The process has gotten pretty easy with eForms and like Silencer Shop. I use their eForm 1 service. It costs a little bit more money, but it makes it super easy to SBR stuff. And their kiosk, once you've used it once for your first suppressor, they have all of your information for all of your other suppressors going forward. So it's not nearly as difficult as you think, and the waits are not nearly as long as they used to be. So it's really not all that bad, but it is still a massive infringement that is totally unnecessary and unconstitutional. And just getting rid of the $200 tax stamp isn't enough. Now, this video is sponsored by Aura. When you do NFA paperwork, you're actually putting your personal information out there. Now, it is just for the federal government, which is probably exactly who you don't want to have your information. But you know what Aura does? They do the opposite for you. They go and they get all of your personal information off of the internet. So then you don't have to worry about anyone having your data, your information anymore. And they do it for only $12 a month. But they also do it absolutely free for the first 2 weeks if you use my link. And so you could try it out absolutely free for 14 days by using aura.com/sawtooth-tactical and decide if it's worth keeping or not. If you find out that it is, you get data broker removal is the biggest one. Like I said, they scour the entire internet. They find anywhere where your data has been leaked, and they submit opt-out requests to the data brokers that are selling your information to scammers and spammers. And then you stop getting spam calls, you stop getting scam calls, you stop getting spam emails. All this stuff goes away from your life. And actually, it is very, very nice. I have continued to use it long after my free trial period ended. And it's totally worth $12 a month for the peace of mind. I open my email now, and it's only emails I want. When my phone rings and it's a number that I don't have saved, it's actually a real phone call, not a scammer, not a spam call. That is really sweet. But they do a whole lot more than just that. They protect your home title. They manage your passwords for you. They give you parental controls. They give you antivirus software, spam and scam call protection. They do all of this stuff, all for just $12 a month. But again, 2 weeks to try it out, absolutely free. You've got nothing to lose at aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. So I want to know what you guys think about this, because I've seen a lot of videos this week, and I understand that I'm coming to this one a little bit late, which is funny because I talk about NFA items quite a bit on this channel and about the state of the NFA because we've been trying to fight this for a long time. I want to know what you guys think, because all these other channels seem to be pissed off that we're getting this reduction in the $200 tax. I think that that is a good thing. I just think that we should be getting a whole lot more. I want to know what the hell happened to the Short Act. Why are we not getting, short-barreled rifles off the NFA? There is absolutely no reason for them to be regulated the way they are. And same thing with suppressors. This is just an accessory. It should be no different than buying this optic. And I know that the Democrats are losing their minds. That I even saw a video about the assassin lobby, that the assassin lobby is trying to get these deregulated. Dude, people watch too many movies. Movies are great, but movies are not real life, and suppressors don't necessarily work that way. Yes, you can get, subsonic 300 blackout pretty quiet. 147 grain subsonic 9mm can be pretty quiet. Subsonic rounds you can suppress pretty well. Most rounds, so the suppressor on this thing, I still wear hearing protection with that. I could probably shoot a few rounds without hearing protection, but it is not silent. Even though there are companies called Silencer Co. and Silencer Shop and Silencer Central, these things are not silent. They just, reduce the decibels enough to make subsonic rounds hearing safe and supersonic rounds just not quite as damaging to your hearing. You still should be wearing hearing protection. But, of course, the Democrats don't know anything about the laws that they're writing. And so, they're talking about the assassin lobby and all this stuff. It's pretty ridiculous. But the Republicans don't need to capitulate in this circumstance. We have the majority. We can get this stuff passed for the first time in a long time. And we should. I don't know why they're not doing this. This is what has been voted for. This is why we voted them into office, is to protect the Second Amendment. And that doesn't mean just, protecting us from additional gun control measures by the Democratic Party, but it means that getting our rights back that have been taken from us unconstitutionally. And a couple of the big ones, the big one is the NFA. Almost all gun control in the last century is based off of the National Firearms Act. The ATF was created out of the National Firearms Act. And if we can get suppressors and SBRs off of the NFA, the two most popular things that people get that are NFA items, that would be amazing. And it should happen. It's not like some crazy thing. These are things, I mean, I've got a bunch of suppressors and SBRs, and I am the most peaceful guy ever. And most people that own these things are. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody. Nobody's trying to be an assassin. We just want to be able to own the things that we want that are constitutionally protected in the United States by the Second Amendment. And we should be able to do that without having to go through additional red tape and paperwork and fingerprinting and mugshots and $200 tax stamps and being put on government lists. That is not a ridiculous thing to ask for. So I'm going to say that all the same thing that all of these other channels have been saying. Call your senators, call your representatives, call anybody on the House Ways and Means Committee especially, and let's see if we can get them to actually do what we voted for them to do to represent us. We want the SHORT Act and the Hearing Protection Act in their original form to be put on this bill and to be passed. And we can get it passed right now. So let me know what you guys think. Are you happy to get rid of the $200 tax on suppressor transfers? Because to be 100% honest, that is a positive. That's better than where we were at before, but it's also not quite enough. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Make sure you're subscribed. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.